Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another Marvel Legends 2-in-1. And this time around, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Bishop and Omega Red from the Sauron Build-A-Figure wave. And both of these characters were attempted by Toy Biz back in the day, and they were good figures for the time, but they definitely needed an update. So I'm very happy that Hasbro went ahead and did that. And let's start this thing off with Bishop. The body they used on Bishop is pretty familiar. It's the same body they used on Sentry, Hyperion, Venom, Radioactive Man, and Gladiator, and I'm sure a couple characters that I'm forgetting, but they've used it a couple times, and it's a pretty good body. I really don't like it for the big super characters like Hyperion and Gladiator, but I think it works really good for Bishop. It's a good muscular body, and he looks super strong, and it works really good for him because they're able to put these straps, the handkerchief, these things on the sleeves, the belts. They're able to put all these different things on there to make the body feel a little bit different, so it doesn't feel like you're just buying a character or a figure that you've already purchased. He doesn't come with any accessories other than his gun that fits into his holster here in the back, just like the Toy Biz version. And just like a lot of other Hasbro Marvel Legends, these things just hang out loose, so they fall all over the place. You can glue them down if you want, but his bicep is big enough to kind of hold them in place, so I haven't been really tempted to glue them. But yeah, I think this is a really good figure. Like I said, it's a good use of this base body, and it's very well done. You can see the logo on his shoulders, very clean. Same thing on this side. And this is just a really good representation of the 90s Bishop, or the Bishop from the animated series. And as I said, he doesn't come with any accessories, but he does come with the Sauron Build-A-Figure piece, and that's the right arm and wing. And this thing looks amazing. I cannot wait to build this. This is probably my most anticipated Build-A-Figure this year. And even though he didn't come with any interchangeable hands or energy effects, you could actually take the fist and the energy effect from Wonder Man and throw him on Bishop, and he actually looks pretty cool. As far as the articulation goes, there's really no surprises. As I said, this is the body that we've already seen, so you should know about the articulation. It has all the basic Marvel Legends stuff: double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, upper thigh swivel, ab crunch, ball jointed head, all the good stuff. I do wish that this body had the butterfly shoulders. If it did have that, people would like this body a lot more than they do now. And his face sculpt is really nice. I love the M on his eye. And it kind of looks like his eyes are silver instead of white, so I think that's pretty interesting. I think it would have been better if they went with purple though, but either way it still looks good. Or red. Purple or red would have looked awesome on this figure. But again, really not too much to talk about on the details here. I do wish that there was some paint wash on these straps. That would have looked awesome, and it would have gone a long way. And it looks a little bright on camera. It's really not that bright, but it looks very bland. It could have looked better with some paint details in there, with just a wash, so maybe I'll add a wash to that. The X logo looks nice though, but the rest of the belt is a little bit plain. And as I mentioned, Toy Biz did make a Bishop back in the day, and this figure is cool. I do appreciate all the details that it has on it. Everything is sculpted on it, and that's really nice, but I was never a big fan of this figure here. I don't like his arms. I hate this ab joint. It's pretty much useless. All it does is swivel. It doesn't crunch at all. So even though this figure was cool, especially for its time, and they did put a lot of work into it, I was just never a big fan of it. It's cool that he came with two guns. I only have one of them handy here, but this is it, and it slips into his little back holster thing, just like on the new Hasbro one. So although this is a cool figure, and it definitely it always had a spot on my shelf, I'm very happy to get this updated version. It's just a lot cleaner. To me, it looks more like Bishop should look. I never liked how this old Toy Biz one just had straight hair, even though Bishop's hair is kind of goofy. I always thought it was kind of interesting, so I didn't like that this figure didn't have it. They just went with the straight back hair instead of the weird mullet weird thing that they had going on. They should have went with that for the Toy Biz one. One thing that was pretty cool about the Toy Biz one though is that there was a variant that had a bald head. I really do wish that the new Hasbro one came with the bald head. Actually, that's probably the only big flaw with this figure, is that he doesn't really have too many accessories. He should have came with some extra hands, maybe some energy effects, and an extra bald head. I think that would have really taken this figure over the top. But as is, I'm very happy with it, and I'm excited to replace this old Bishop. He did his time, but I don't need him anymore. And now for Omega Red, this guy's actually on a new body, and it's really good because it's super muscular, but it does have a lot of articulation. And one thing they added to this big huge body was the upper shoulder joint. A lot of their bigger bodies don't have that, so I think that's really, really cool that they put that in there, and it works really good. You would think that the muscles and biceps would get in the way, but they don't. You're able to get his arm all the way across, so that is really awesome. And other than that, the articulation is pretty standard. He has the ab crunch, the waist swivel, upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees, double jointed elbows, upper bicep swivel. His head is on a ball joint. You could get it to go all kinds of different directions. And the one thing about the articulation on the ab crunch It's a little bit annoying because when you crunch him forward a lot, it wants to unbuckle the buckle in the back. But that's not really a big deal. You could probably find a way to not have to deal with that. Maybe just glue it and you'd probably be okay. If you want, you could still get the abs to, you could still get his ab crunch going. So not a huge deal, but it's a little annoying when you're dealing with it. And I like what they did with the shoulder pads too. They're actually pegged in, so you don't have to worry about them slipping off when you're moving them around. So that's a huge plus. But yeah, this guy is great. I was a little surprised that they didn't have the lower leg swivel, but it's really not a big deal. I do kind of wish it was there, but it doesn't break the figure or ruin it or anything. And yeah, this thing is awesome. I really wish they would have made Gladiator on this body. I know that it was highly unlikely that they'd give us 2 different versions of Gladiator, but they just re-released them. You know, it would have been cool if they threw them on this body. Same thing with Sabretooth and Venom. All those figures would look nice on this. And even though I like the body that they're on, I really don't think it fits those figures. It works good for Bishop, works good for Cable, but this body would have been a lot better for all those characters. And just to show you what could have been, here's the Gladiator head and cape on the body. And I guess the head would have to be a little bit bigger, but that would have been awesome. Look at that. He would have been super intimidating. This would have just looked crazy going up against Juggernaut or the X-Men. Or if they gave us more of the Imperial Guard. And he would look big and imposing, you know. Check that out. That looks really cool. And same thing for Venom here. They're crazy if they don't make another Venom on this body. Gladiator, I kind of understand. I know he's not the most popular character, but Venom is one of their most popular characters. He has a movie coming out, all that good stuff. So they should really consider putting him on this body. He would look amazing next to Spider-Man. That other body is almost the same height as Spider-Man. But if you want your Venom to look bigger and more imposing next to Spider-Man, you got to put him on this body. I hope I can find a couple extra Omega Reds and maybe do some customs. We'll see, but look at that. That would have been crazy. So hopefully they take that route in the future. We'll see. And for his accessories, he comes with 2 sets of tentacles. The first set is a really short pair, and then he has another pair which is already kind of bent up. And they don't have bendy wires, and I think that would have been the way to go because these things are too small and too weak to support any character. You can get a character like wrapped up in here, but it's not really going to hold it, and you're kind of confined to just doing it with this here. You can't really do too much else. It's already like nothing is really going to look like it's wrapped up tight because it's pre-bent. It kind of wants to go to his natural state. But I do like that they put a little loop in there so you could at least get him strangling Wolverine. And these things are cool because they pop in really, really easy. That's all you have to do there. Oops. And there you go. But again, they don't have the bendy wire, so they're kind of hard to support. They just kind of fall. But they do look pretty good, so I am happy with what they did here, but I think bendy wires would have been the way to go. And then of course he comes with Sauron's leg. And as I mentioned, Sauron looks awesome, so can't wait to build that. And here's a closer look at the details on this guy. He does look very good. Everything is sculpted really nice, but there really isn't too many paint applications. You can see everything is just kind of molded in the color that it's supposed to be. It would have been cool if this was more metallic silver, but it's just gray. And same thing down here, there's no kind of wash or anything. This would have really benefited from a wash. The face looks really good too, but I do wish they would have thrown a wash in there. I think it would have looked a lot better. And it would have been cool if this was painted white, but I just realized that they didn't even paint it white on the Toy Biz version. Check that out. But look at all the details on there. They kind of went overboard with it, so somewhere in the middle would have been awesome. But anyways, I do like the sculpt on this guy. I love this new body. Can't wait to see what else they do with it. Hopefully they do some great things with it. And you have the knee pads that look good. They kind of look a little reflective, so I don't know why they didn't make all this reflective, or even the tentacles. Or am I tripping or what? Yeah, it looks like the knee pads are a little bit more reflective and metallic. So I really wish they would have done that everywhere. It looks like they did it here on the little hand guards. But yeah, they should have done it on the straps and shoulder pads. But for some reason they didn't. And here's Omega Red with this Toy Biz counterpart. And as you can see, the Toy Biz one really hasn't held up. It does have better paint applications, but the paint has faded. You can see that his shoes are like different colors and just all kinds of paint fading everywhere. These aren't the same color they were when I first bought it. And yeah, I did used to like this figure a lot. I love that it has the bendy wires and the tentacles, and these are actually strong enough to hold up another figure. But aside from that, this new one you know, blows this one out of the water. He's very lanky and awkward looking. It is cool how tall he is, and it's cool that his ponytail is articulated. That's not the case with the Hasbro one. So there's a few things that the Toy Biz did better, but it just really hasn't held up. I think this is the same body they used on Sabretooth, so hopefully they do that with Omega Red here. Go ahead and throw Sabretooth on that body, that'd be perfect. But anyways, yeah, so this guy just hasn't really held up. Like I said, some of the paint details are a lot better, but it doesn't matter because they've all kind of faded. And for some quick size comparisons, here they are next to the Jim Lee Cyclops, the Tiger Stripe Wolverine, and the Cable from the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave. And here's a look at Omega Red next to Colossus because they're both Russian. Just for one more quick comparison, here's Bishop next to Gambit. I'd be insane if I didn't show these two figures together. And this Gambit is still awesome. I think it holds up, but I am very excited to get the upcoming one, and I think that one is going to look a lot better with this Bishop. So overall, I'm very happy with both of these figures. It's very exciting to see that Hasbro is going back and updating a lot of these old Toy Biz figures. For the longest time, the Toy Biz stuff seemed untouchable, but over time, it's kind of, they haven't aged well, a lot of them. So it's very cool to see that Hasbro is going and updating a lot of these characters, because a lot of these characters deserve awesome figures, and I think Hasbro's at a point where they could be giving us awesome figures. So I can't wait to see what other Toy Biz figures they update. Let me know what Toy Biz figures you think they should update. I'd love to see them do a new Dragon Man. I'm really excited about their new Super Skrull. I'd love to see what they could do with the new Beast figure. Hopefully when they finally announce that, it'll be a whole new sculpt and not just a repainted Jackal. I know they could sometimes do stuff like that, but sometimes they really do characters justice and they make it happen, and I think they did that with these here. Hopefully they do that with other Toy Biz updates going forward. But anyways, I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Marvel Legends 2-in-1. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and thank you very much. Peace.